Hello everyone! I have been busy testing out some new eyeshadow quads. They look a lot like e.l.f. bite-sized quads, but they're actually from Hard Candy. And if you keep up with my Instagram, you've probably seen some of the looks that I've done with each of these. I've kind of posted as I've gone through them. But I found them at Walmart. They're brand new. I saw them in kind of a special display toward the end of an aisle, and I just knew that I had to test them out, and I had to see how they compared to the e.l.f. They actually run just a little bit more expensive. They're $3 and change as opposed to just $3. And I don't think they're 100% consistent. For example, I'm holding 4 quads and there are 2 that I think are great and there are 2 that I would definitely skip. So I'm going to be reviewing those. I will show you the little tutorial on the nice little basic look that I'm wearing today. I got every shade that I could find at the store that day. There may have been, I feel like just judging by the layout, there might have been another quad or 2, but I have 4 to talk about today. And then there were several of these. These are called the Greek Tragedy 15 multi-dimensional shades matte satin shimmer glitter from Hard Candy. This is the palette called Marquee, and I remember seeing a more plummy one, maybe more of a basic neutral as well. This overall is sporting some pretty good quality. I like the mattes and the shimmers. The glitters are tough, especially like this deep one. It's not a super duper fine glitter, and I do have some trouble making this stuff adhere really well to my primers and bases. It may appear that it's starting that way, and then as the day goes on I really start to lose it. However, for the rest of this palette, I think there's some cool things going on. This shade called Roman Candle, this light green, is actually really pretty, but overall it's just not like the kind of palette I'm going to be reaching for all the time. This video does not revolve around this palette, but I just wanted to say, you know, it's got a lot of bronze shimmer in quite a few different tones, and to me it's like a little much on that end. We have 2 deep dark shades and kind of like 1 crease color among all of this, and while the shimmers seem to be pigmented and the mattes are nice and smooth, it's really not wowing me. Like, the shade composition is just, even though I love a yellow, you know, I feel like we needed even more of a spectrum of mattes in here to balance out some of these shimmers, like maybe take away a couple of the bronzes and give us a little bit more to really help build up the look, you know what I'm saying? And then of course the glitters, like I said, they're kind of rough. But like I said, there are these palettes as well available in a few different tones. My experience with this one wasn't amazing, but maybe the others are better. I'm not sure, but we're gonna really focus on the quads in this video. So they all have like a little different imprint in their shadows here. So this is the one, for example, called Bear, and they're called Hard Candy Moods. This is Bear, and it has 2 mattes and 2 shimmers, and I feel like that's the trend, yeah, in all of the ones I have. 2 mattes, 2 shimmers. This is your super basic neutral one, okay? And then we have a warmer neutral. This is called Burn, and we see our 2 mattes right here, our 2 shimmers. There's one called Purr. This is something that the cool tone folks, the taupe lovers, the plummy lovers would enjoy. I'm wearing this one on my eyes today. And then we have a more like strongly colored purple one called Punk right here. So the 2 that I'm really a fan of are the ones called Bear and Purr. These are the most consistent, meaning every shade in both of these works really well for me. And I feel like they're offering something to me that e.l.f. hasn't already. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you're going to choose that very same size and format, I feel like I want something a little bit different. Now you might look at this and say, this is a whole lot like e.l.f.'s Cream and Sugar. Yeah, but it's actually giving us something that that one didn't, and it's a really nice crease shade. Cream and Sugar gave us a light matte, 2 shimmers, and a dark color. Now granted, these were good. Everything in this palette was good quality, but this is actually the more sensible layout to get there. Kind of taking away this cream color and instead giving us something that can actually work to set up the look in the crease. So I think it's super user-friendly. Like I said, every shade is nicely pigmented. I've enjoyed the looks I've done with this. If you're looking for the basic brown with like a little bit of bronze capability in it from the drugstore, this is a great option. I also like that light pearly color too. That could be a pretty face highlight. But then our mattes as well, really nice quality, really nice and soft. Definitely softer and smoother than anything I remember using from Hard Candy in the past. So this one definitely gets my seal of approval, and again, I find it easier to work with and easier to create the full look compared to Cream and Sugar, just because it gives you that more transition, started out in the crease kind of color. The other one that I love is the one called Purr, and I don't really have any quads that look exactly like this, so there's 1 point for this palette, but also everything in it is smooth and rich and pigmented. So I like the, you got the shimmery taupe. This is actually kind of a rose gold color, this dusty lilac, and then a deeper like brownish plum, and all that's being used in my eye look today. So once I'm done talking about all these, we'll go to that tutorial. But when I showed this on Instagram, it got a big reaction. Everybody was like, ooh, I love that quad. And it is really nice if you're into a cooler look, a plummy look. This shade actually has quite a bit of depth to it, this taupey color. So like I've got a decent amount of that on my lid, and it looks kind of deep. If you want more brightness on the lid, that really soft rose gold color, light on the rose, that's really pretty on the lid as well. And it looks so beautiful coming up against this plummy color. Like I said, this is great and easy in the crease. So consistent quality, nice shade choice. That's another winner for me. Now, what's wrong with these other two? Well, let's talk about the Burn palette. For me, this one doesn't go deep enough. This is the deepest that it all goes. And these two shades, it's like the matte version and the shimmery version of the same color. Like they're the same kind of depth level. You see that? One just has shimmer, one's matte. And then this shade is just very out and out peachy. Granted, it's nicely pigmented, but this quad is all about just mid-tone warmth pretty much, and I feel like this shade could have been a whole lot darker, even richer in that same kind of tone, just deepened up quite a bit. So not enough contrast for me, especially with all these three shades kind of hanging out in the same color zone. I need something to come in there and pull it down a bit, and I know there will be people saying, well, just go to another quad, just pull it from another place, you own it. Yeah, but I have to look at this and think about it from the standpoint of a person who doesn't have that option. And this is kind of claiming to be that one and done easy look. Now, if you like it lighter, if you don't ever find yourself reaching for the deeper shades in a palette, maybe this looks perfect to you, okay? And you love the warm shades. I'm just saying I want something darker in there. Now, this punk one, this was the biggest quality letdown for me. There is 1 star in this palette, and it's this shimmery purple. I mean, that is pretty. You can't take anything away from that. But I was disappointed in this shimmer, which seems to be like a little bit more traditional shimmer formula. Like this one, you might think, is it going to be flaky? No, it's not even flaky. It's just really soft and pigmented. But the other shimmer like barely shows. And then the pigment out of the purple and the plum over here, which is like a really cool plum, just totally not there. Took a ton of building up when I used this to get to my finished look, which, the look was acceptable. It was okay, but nobody should have to build that much to get there. There's just a very obvious quality difference with this quad compared to my others. So quality issue here, shade selection issue here, but these two for me are really working in all ways. So I'll wrap it up before this video is over, but for now, let's go to the little demo using the Purr palette so you can see it going on. Okay guys, so I'm first off going to prime my lids with Milani eyeshadow primer. It's kind of like my constant. It's always a good option for getting the best out of a shadow, and I do feel like it has an impact on the staying power too. So just get that all over the lid's face, up to the brow. And then I'm going to be using one of my favorites. This is the Purr Monochrome Shadow Quad. And as you can see, it's kind of cool. It's just a really good layout of shades, a really good spread of light to dark. So I'm going to use that first matte shade. So this is matte, and then we have the 2 shimmers here and here. So I'm starting out with that lighter matte, which is kind of like a really dusty lilac, actually. Kind of a unique color. I think that's why I like this quad. I feel like I don't own this quad already, you know what I mean, in another brand. I think my cool tone lovers would really support this one. But see, I'm just using my Profusion crease brush, and I'm getting in the crease, but then I'm really focusing on this area up above the crease and letting everything kind of fade up there. And then I'm going to go to this dark matte here, which I really enjoy. I like the pigment that it has. I just like the consistency in this quad. One shade to the next, they can all perform, So I'm patting that over about half of my eyelid there, and then I can kind of flip my brush and wedge it up, as I like to do. And then I can just pull that crease brush back in, and anything that was hitting the crease, I can sort of buff that just a little bit more here. See that? See, aren't you loving how this is getting so like kind of murky and blended? And then if you're like, okay, I like that, but I want it to look even darker, just take a smaller brush like the Profusion Small Pointed, go into your darkest shade again, really make sure that's getting right there to the crease area, and you can build that up. You can take that, you know, even further. And if you need to, pull in a bare blending brush. We don't really have a highlight shade here, but I don't always feel like that's necessary, because if you can blend out like that transition-y color enough, it just kind of looks like it's fading back into skin, you know? Okay, so I love that. I have a couple of light shades here. One's a taupe, and one's like just this softer, how would I explain this one? It almost makes me think of rose gold, actually, right here. So I'm gonna start out with the taupey shade. I'm just gonna kind of swipe that across much of the lid, like in the center. See how it gives this really cool kind of stony colored vibe there. And that could be a pretty one shadow look in itself, this shimmer. But as you can see, it's giving a little gleam. And if you wanted to go brighter, you know, just pick the lighter shade and do more of that in this area. Okay, then I'm going to reach for my lightest. This is, like I said, kind of a rose gold. And I'm going to go pretty much like inner corner and just pull up gently, just for a little more brightness right in here. But this is pigmented, soft. Both of these shimmers are easy to control with your brush. And I just really like the color spread. I think it's kind of unique, even though this whole concept is a complete like copycat of e.l.f. bite-sized quads. I like that this one was something kind of different. Last thing I might do is just take some of my darkest shade with my small pointed brush and just use that as some soft lower liner. So easy, like suddenly defined eye all the way around. This could be a very smoky little quad if you wanted it to be. And like I said, that darkest shade, it's definitely got a plumminess to it. Pretty look, easy look. I'm going to put a lip color on. I'm going to finish the eyes, and we'll come back and I'll show you how everything looks with the mascara and all that. Alrighty guys, so here's how I just finished off the look. I did some black liquid liner across the upper lash line and mascara top and bottom, and you know, just an easy everyday look. This is the kind of quad that I think would work for a lot of people in a lot of different situations. It could be more dramatic than the way I put it on. I tried to go kind of in the middle with that, so you could maybe imagine it being a little darker if you layered on more of the deepest shade, or you could see it going lighter if you incorporated more of that light shimmer on the lid. Elsewhere on the face, I'm wearing my Estee Slip Tint Broad Spectrum SPF 35 sunscreen tinted moisturizer. I've got that all over. I'm also wearing my blush from that line, and on my lips I did kind of a combo. I'm wearing this lipstick from Milani in Purr, and this is a really nice, actually very rich berry shade, and I sort of took down the pink a little bit with this Maybelline Super Stay Matte Ink Crayon in the shade Live on the Edge. So the hard candy quads, my friends, if you're really familiar with drugstore makeup, you're gonna think e.l.f. bite-sized quads. Like I said, there may be one or two additional palettes out there, but from what I've tried, I think there are a couple of great little basic quads available. The Bear one is, like I said, super easy, really user-friendly. You can really kind of look at it and see exactly where you'd go with it, and it just gives you that basic kind of brown hint of bronzy gold look. This one for my cool lovers, my smoky lovers, really beautiful and probably my tip-top favorite. And the thing I would say in e.l.f.'s favor, if we're just talking about the whole line altogether, I feel like the e.l.f. bite-sized quads and like the Wet n Wild 5-pan palettes, gosh, those are even cheaper than these, the Wet n Wild 5-pans. They're like $2.98. There's a lot of consistency in those. Like there was never one that I got and thought there's a quality concern here. I don't feel like I ever really encountered that with those quads from e.l.f. or from Wet n Wild. If I came away with any complaints on certain ones of those, it might have just been, you know, a color scheme that I wasn't super fond of for me. Here, just judging by my sample sampling, it seems like the quality is a bit more hit and miss, but at the same time, I see an overall improvement, especially with these, compared to like other stuff I've tried from Hard Candy. There have been some decent palettes here or there, a diamond in the rough from time to time, but these are really, really good. So some kind of formula improvement has been made there. It just didn't stretch to every single quad, unfortunately. So thank you guys for watching. Please let me know if you've seen these. Have you seen any other shades that I didn't try? Feel free to fill us in the comments section, and thank you for watching. I love you. Bye.